but again, like Blue Sox said, this run can definitely lose time, gain time pretty drastically. We have both players off onto Ancient Lake.
Yep, so a pretty basic car track to start things off. Still, it's relatively easy to lose a second or two just from less than optimal movement or just slightly missing one of these boosts.
Yeah. So it's a little bit difficult. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
No, it's a little bit difficult to tell how far apart these players are right now. We'll have a better idea when we can see the finishing times. So Peegs is going to finish up with a 39 Ancient Lake. It looks like Mono having a little bit of problems. Oh, misses the balloon. That's one big source of time loss is missing the blue balloon in the grass, or the last one there. So we've got, I believe this is Mono's first race, and this is Peegs' second race. Peegs is currently has one win, and so her winning this would very much help her in getting first or second in her group. But she still has her match left to play with Spleener Dog, who is likely the favorite player in this group. Both players on Fossil Canyon right now, and it doesn't seem like either player will be going for the Canyonless trick, which is a rather tricky. It's actually rather difficult to get as a trick. Mono having quite a bit of problems at the end there with the boost. Peaks having a pretty nice time going into her third lap now. Mono with a nice pond jump there. So yeah. Maybe Blue Sox can kind of give a good explanation of what the Canyonless trick is, even though we don't see it
Yeah,
here.
so we see Peegs coming up on where it would be. You can kind of see the blue balloon go flashing by over on the far right inside that tunnel, and we'll see it again on Mono's screen here. If you can time your drifting back and forth really tightly, you can hit both the blue balloon and the zipper and then combine them to get a lot of air. And win off this ramp right there. And then when you're airborne, the mechanics in this game in car, you don't lose boosted speed. So you actually can get quite a bit of time save out of a good, clean Canyonless. But it is a very tight window. You can definitely lose the blue balloon and miss the zipper and crash into a wall and lose a lot of time if you properly.
Oh yeah. So we see both players on Jungle Falls. Jungle Falls is a very fast and technical track. It's quite beautiful to watch when somebody does it really well. And Peegs is actually having Peegs is having a nice time here. She had that one little mishap where she got spun around by a shield balloon. Someone with the shield on.
Yep. Yeah, so one of the implications of there being no rubber banding in this game is that you will frequently have to pass all the AIs as you lap them, and they can interfere with you, even though they're a lap behind. And you have a little bit of control over it. There are certain points where you know there's going to be, oil slicks or mines left behind, and generally always are, but sometimes you just get unlucky, and there's not much you can do.
Yeah, and right there, we just saw Mono get the Hot Top Volcano out of bounds. Peegs already got hers, and she is zooming along with her barrel rolls. Oh, man. So Mono was out of bounds, but on the turn, I guess he went a little too far and did clip back in bounds. And it seems like he's having a bit of trouble at least with the zippers there. However, he should be able to clip right back in bounds here. And, yep, he does. Peegs finishing up here with a 56, some very nice movement.
Yep, just over a 4-minute dyno. That's a pretty good start.
That is a pretty good start indeed, yep.
Yep. So one of the difficulties of these out-of-bounds tracks is you have to know the actual points that you need to touch in order to get credit for going around the lap. Hot Top Volcano is one of the easier ones. The points are just at the two extremes.
Yep.
So I think Mono may have turned around a little bit early.
Yeah.
Wait.
One thing that's difficult. Oh no! So he actually did the same thing that I did in my race, where he didn't hit the checkpoint, but he wrong weighed and then he clipped back inbound. So what he's gonna have to do is either go ahead and do a whole other lap inbounds, and meanwhile, so that's really rough. That's a really rough start to his dyno. Which is right. So now Peegs is on Whale Bay, the first hover tracks. We're going to start her doing what's called snaking, where she's moving her controller stick back and forth to gain and then hold a lot of speed in the hovercraft, because when you're turning, it makes the hovercraft gain some speed, likely to make it feel a little bit smoother when you're using the vehicle. However, we noticed that happens, and we just kind of abuse it by snaking all the time.
Yep, and it's not as easy as just tilting the joystick back and forth. There's a whole rhythm to it, and you have to A-tap properly at the right pace. It's actually a fairly difficult tech, and it makes practicing hover tracks unfortunately painful on the thumbs.
Yes, definitely. I did forget to mention that. Thank you. Snaking is rather difficult to do properly. And Peegs is on Pirate Lagoon. This hover track it's the second hover track of all trophy races, and it's quite heavy on making really good turns and making this nice chain boost, using the balloon to go into the hover zipper and then hover zipper to the other balloon to fly through that area. Peegs having a bit of a rough Pirate Lagoon. She got a 1 minute flat, which is still really good, but it did seem like she had a few rough points. And Mono is on Whale Bay. You can kind of see the, although Mono did have a really rough hot top, Peegs just kind of already had pulled a little bit ahead at that point. Although, and most times what we'll see is that plane tracks will kind of separate players with different skill levels from each other. Although these players, I wouldn't suspect it to be a big difference in plane, although I think Mono might not have been practicing as much, and I know Peegs has really been practicing with plane. And this is
the other vehicles you can gain or lose a few seconds with good movement tech, but the plane, it can really make a huge difference between really good movement and just casual movement. Mostly because in the plane you can keep yourself pretty much at top speed at will, because you get free boosts with barrel rolls.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with the other vehicles, you're kind of, even with good movement tech, you're only increasing your speed a little bit, as opposed to the difference between like being at top speed 150 and being at the normal speed 60.
Yep. So Peegs finished up Crescent Island there. It looked like she had a pretty nice race there. She did have some difficulties at the end with that sharp turn. Now she's on to Treasure Caves, where I think Peegs decides to use this blue balloon right here, where she'll boost from here, grab that, and then connect it with this other blue balloon. She did cut her boost short a little bit in order to keep from really flying around and possibly losing control, but which can work.
And that's one of the things that can definitely go wrong, is when you have a boost right into a line of not blue balloons, and you crash right into one of the red ones or green ones and lose the boost simply because you replaced it.
Yeah, so Peegs finishing with a 48, probably not all too happy with it, but still it was good Treasure Caves for losing the balloon on lap 2.
Yeah, Treasure Caves is also an inconsistent track, and pretty much any time you can get through without a major disaster is pretty good.
Yeah, it's really rough having a track where most players expect to lose like almost 3 seconds of time just to one race because of how inconsistent it is. And here we have Peegs on Everfrost Peak, which is the first inbound plane track of all trophy races, and is the first track of Snowflake Mountain.
Yep, and this track is also probably one of the easiest to separate skill levels.
Yes.
Because this is one of those tracks where you can use boosts and barrel rolling to pretty much never have to use the actual accelerator on the plane. because you go faster when you aren't using the accelerator if you're boosted, whereas a more casual player will obviously have trouble maintaining enough barrel to chain all these boosts, not to mention all the control it takes.
Yeah, and Peegs is like, honestly, Peegs is doing really well. Like, she's having a really good Everfrost peak. Where I'm gonna be interested to see how Mono does when he gets here. He's on Treasure Caves right now, so he had.
This was a really clean Everfrost peak.
Yeah, we might have to rename it Everfrost Peaks after this eventually.
Yes, I'm sure she'll be thrilled with that.
Yeah, she'll be thrilled. So Mono is also going to choose to use the balloon at the same spot that Peegs did. He does not grab that. He doesn't chain all the way to the blue balloon there, so he will have to do this last section balloonless. Peegs in Walrus Cove now. Very nice movement. Walrus Cove can be quite a tricky card track, especially when you get into this section where if a player decides to chain the boost like that, you can actually end up hitting the ice like Peegs did.
Yeah, that ice, just like in real life, it will bounce you way up into the air and stop all your momentum, because that's what ice does.
Yes.
And obviously having your momentum completely stopped and turned into a vertical bounce is very bad.
Yeah. So Peegs having a better time there on the ice section, a nice 28 lap. And Mono, you can see him going through Everfrost Peak. He isn't having a horrible time, actually. He's doing a good job of keeping looks like he's not really holding the A button. He does such a nice little backup there to grab that blue balloon. However, it did look like he having some difficulties with the So one thing about playing is when you bonk, you lose a lot of time, and Peegs finishing up Walrus Cove nicely there. I didn't get
a little bit of trouble from the AIs, but she got through them.
Yeah, the AIs are always tricky when you catch them on these tracks. So now onto the short Snowball Valley, which is a really short car track. Peegs missing that last. Peegs missing that last boost, the last ground zipper. She had a bit of a rough first lap due to missing a couple of blue balloons.
Ooh. The uneven terrain and the rolling snowballs can make this a very inconsistent track, even for really good.
Yeah, definitely.
Because if you get slightly off your usual line, you can wind up getting thrown way off your anticipated course and having to adjust on the fly and stuff like. You can see Peegs got hit by 2 different snowballs.
She does still end up with a 50, which is pretty good. Definitely is not going to like the fact that she ended up getting snowballed twice and at all. And so Mono on Walrus Cove looks like he's having a So he decides to use his blue balloon a little earlier and just flirting with the ice, and he does not hit it. That was rather nerve-wracking. Holy cow. As Peegs is on Frosty Village.
Frosty Village is probably one of the main reasons why we play this category with the music off. The snow effect that you see on the screen already causes a lot of lag. And if you have the music on, it is so much worse. And even just aside from the slowdown from lag frames will eat your inputs. And you can see there's a lot of really short turns here, especially through this section.
Yes.
Your entire turn input gets eaten, you can just fly into nowhere.
Yeah. So Peegs having maybe a bit of a rough second lap. She definitely had a rough
taking
time
out some frustration there.
Yeah, nice. That was a nice snipe, though. I mean, that wasn't a homing missile. So that was some really good shooting. But she's gonna finish up here. She'll get about a 120, 122. Or sorry, a 120. Yeah. And then.
And then Mono just clipping that last bit of ice.
Yeah. So Mono finishes up Snowball. You can see the racers are 2 races different, and I think a lot of that had to do with Everfrost Peak. Mono seemed to really struggle on that course. And Peaks had a really nice race there, as Peaks is going to be on Boulder Canyon now in Dragon Forest. We're almost to... We're past the halfway mark for both players now.
So this is one of the longer hover tracks, one of the tracks where you can really gain some time if you're well versed in hover mechanics. Especially that part right there through the castle that Pigs just completed. You can avoid some lag and chain your blue balloon with the zipper. You can get through that castle part really fast without losing your speed. But if you do any of the inputs even slightly wrong, the hover really likes to slow down almost to a full stop after being boosted. Yeah. So the difference between getting a clean, legless run there that doesn't slow you down and not getting it can actually be a couple seconds in and of itself.
Yeah, Peaks did a good job. The last boost, I think there probably was a bit of lag there. I don't think she caught the first zipper completely lagless, and now she's contending with the AI. So, yeah, that was better than the second lap boost, but still looked like there was quite a lot of lag there. But Boulder Canyon is notorious for lap 3 on that, but that was a 118 Boulder Canyon. That was really good.
And to answer Fluff, it's as Giz said, it's about 15 seconds. Part of that is just the fact that the game is running slower, and part of that is that there's a little bit of dropped input to it, so it makes it more difficult as well.
Yep. So Peaks is onto Greenwood Village, which is it's a really fun track. It's one of my favorites. Got its really nice S-bend turn here, which Peaks has a little bit of trouble with on this lap, but when done properly, you just can fly through Greenwood.
Peaks picking up the shield. This is one of those places where the AI loves to always drop stuff, and you can see she went through an oil slick and a mine. Especially on lap 2 in this track, you almost always need a shield for that part.
Yep. Peaks getting through the S-bend nicely that time. Oh, wow, she clipped through the first mine, but unfortunately, she had lost enough speed where she actually hit the second mine. And so...
We don't see it too often, but you can actually get enough boosted speed in this game where you pass through the hitbox of an entire object within a frame and clip right through it. This will you will clip through blue balloons and not through mines, is typically how it works.
Yeah. However, there are some times where you can clip through mines if you're going fast enough, just like you would a balloon. Hitboxes in this game are really weird. And here we are on Windmill Plains. This is going to be very important. I believe Peaks is going to go for the out of bounds here, based on her holding the balloon. No, she isn't. She's going to go... No, she's doing inbound. She's just opting to chain the balloon there.
That is a good use of the balloon, because if you use it in a curve, you have to almost immediately give it up to avoid hitting the outer wall. There is an out of bounds right after the tunnel, but it's a fairly difficult clip, and especially where the seeding in the bracket stage is going to be based on a racer's best time. You don't necessarily want to go for the more aggressive strats here if you aren't confident in them.
Yeah. And since Peaks came into this group seeded as the number 2 seed, if she does win this match, she will have 2 wins in her group, which will likely guarantee that she will come out of her group with Sweener, Sweener, Mono, and Mad Scientist. So Mono finishing up Boulder Canyon with a 134. It does seem like someone mentioned him using music in the chat. I believe that's our restreamer. But so Mono has decided to use the music in this run, which is giving him quite a bit of lag that we're noticing. But the music in this game is really good. So some players just opt to play with music.
Yeah, certainly if you're playing more to show off the game or be a good streamer about it, as opposed to taking the speedrun seriously, you definitely want to play with music on. The music is amazing.
Oh yeah, definitely. And we have peaks on Haunted Woods here. Haunted Woods is very tricky. Very, like, I consider it a bit technical because of the couple of sections here. You have this last part here of the lap where you have to chain that ground boost to that ground boost, and allows you to go really fast.
It's a very short track, and with the zippers, it's very fast. But with a very fast track comes the fact that it's very easy to hit a wall and stop yourself completely.
Oh wow, I'm very surprised Peaks missed that last. I think that Peaks
I think
maybe
she
should
got
not
a little
have.
bit of a bump there and went over it.
So the bump texture, okay. Haunted Woods is notorious for having bump texture boosts, as I call them. Mono finishing up Greenwood, and so he'll be moving into Windmill Plains now, and Peaks on Space Dust Alley in Future Funland, widely regarded as the most difficult ATR course, due to the fact that like there's not that bonking on this track is actually really punishing because there's not that many balloons and stuff and zippers to really get you back going if you bonk in certain spots. So,
and you could see with all the pillars and the arches and these floating rocks and all the archways you have to go through, there's just a lot of things that you can bump into, and any one of them is a disaster.
Yeah, and Peaks is doing a really great job in not bonking and going rather fast. He's having a pretty good Space Dust Alley here.
So normally in PB attempts, we would start with this course because you would race from Future Funland back towards Dino. For no reset, obviously, it doesn't particularly matter first.
No. Yeah, a lot of players will actually go Dino first to no reset or run because it's rather consistent at the front, as you see. But it gets a lot harder as you get into Future Funland. Looks like Peaks is going to finish up with a pretty low 120s. He's going to get a 122. Yep. And Mono is
definitely take a 122 in a Dino first run.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Ooh, Mono having a little bit of bonking troubles on Windmill Plains there, but it didn't hurt him too bad, actually, just bumping off the tree. He's going to finish up his inbounds Windmill Plains here. As Peaks is on Dark Moon Caverns, of course. It is very daunting, but once you can do it really fast, once you can get down Dark Moon, it looks really neat.
Dark Moon takes a lot of practice in a lot of ways because some of the clipping doesn't necessarily match up well with the visual textures, particularly in this section that Peaks is coming up to right.
Oh yeah.
The crater there in the middle and the second crater there, their hitboxes just sort of don't really match their visual images.
No, they're a lot wider than you'd actually think. He's doing a good job getting those two balloons, and she's actually doing a really good job here. She had one little mess up that didn't even do much. It was just a little bonk. Mono seemed to have a little bit of problems with that boost. Sometimes with the first boost in Haunted Woods, where sometimes if you overturn and you don't make your sharp turn well enough, you'll hit the other boost and you might fly out of control and bonk. Although it looked like Mono did a good job, he got through the arch and got through the archway and everything, but he ended up in the trees as he finishes up there.
So we're still about a 2-course difference here.
Yeah.
As Peaks is coming up on the end of Dark Moon.
Yeah, she's going to get a 145 Dark Moon, which is really good. Which is pretty good, but maybe she probably wanted a little better. Based off her first lap being a 34, she definitely was likely looking for better. Here she is on Star City.
Those were probably some frustration beeps at the end of the track there. So yeah, this will be Peaks' last car track here. and the last track that we actually do the intended way.
Yeah, so this is Star City. Really, the only difficult part about it that could happen is falling off the bridge, which hopefully does not happen. I maybe shouldn't have even mentioned it, but the bridge is a cause of trouble for some
players. Ramp there does not have any sort of alternate way back. If you fall off, you just have to drive back to the start of the bridge and try again.
Yes.
And that can be, depending on where you fall off, about a 15-second time loss.
Yeah.
That was a lot more spikes than you usually see at that part of the track.
Yes, I definitely was about to mention that. Ooh, Mono, plane first, nose first into the wall. That's just an example of how harsh plane bonks can be. If you hit head on, you lose all your speed, you lose all your elevation, and accelerating a plane isn't very fast. And Peak's gonna finish up here with a 121 on Star City, so she is well within green to get a PB here. Depending on her
good spaceport could definitely.
Good spaceport. She's looking. Yeah, we might be looking.
We'll see how tight she takes the turns if she risks a wrong way to try to pull out a PB here.
Yeah. So not only are we looking at a possibility of a PB, but we're looking at a possible 26 for Peaks, which would be really awesome to see. She's gonna nail the clip. Now it's just up to how well she flies the out of bounds. She's definitely. Okay, there she goes. She corrected herself.
Oh no!
Oh, she clipped in bounds, but she.
Oh, and she didn't get the lower checkpoint.
Yeah.
The deep cage. She should be able to just touch back here and get the checkpoint.
Yeah. So Peak.
So now.
Huh? Okay. Yeah. So Peak.
So this should activate lap 2.
Yeah, activates lap 2. So unfortunately, we won't see a PB from Peaks, and that's unfortunate. This course is rather rough. For that type of stuff. Mono's on Dark Moon, so he's finishing up his first lap. Peaks will get the clip and she'll finish.
Yeah.
So yeah.
She's staying really high for this part.
Yeah.
A little bit lower than last time, but
yeah.
The risk of being too low is that you can get voided out and sent back to the starting line, which is obviously pretty bad, but
yeah.
She's really cutting it close to cutting back in again.
But Spaceport Alpha in general is so she finishes with a 27:36, I believe.
Yep.
So
still a very good time to
very good
lose time. In a race to only lose 26 or 27 seconds off your PB is impressive.
Yeah. She raced very, very well, and Spaceport just. I kind of can tell what might have happened. The way that she kind of probably lost her way in there because of how she clipped and not really being able to see any textures. She did definitely seem to get it leveled, but she was just a little bit high when she did get back on track. So yeah, congratulations.
Yeah, that is one of the big difficulties of that clip. It takes a while when you're out of bounds sometimes for the level to load around you, and you're just flying absolutely blind. And if you're a little bit higher than you think, it's sort of what happens.
Yeah.
Right back in, and that's that.
So I think we can confidently say congrats to Peaks to making it through group stages. She only has 1 match and she has 2 wins, so that would pretty much guarantee her a spot in bracket. So congratulations and good job on winning this race. But let's focus on Mono. Wow, he finishes up here. He's on lap 2 of Star City. Or no, he's actually on lap 1. My apologies. He's moving into lap 2 now.
Yep.
So, doing a good job on the bridge, not falling off. And there we go. So he's grabbing that. That blue balloon is something that you can grab, and a lot of players will use it to kind of chain from the ground zipper to get to the other blue balloon. And That way you can kind of create a 3-chain boost up to the finish line. However, Mono choosing to use it right away. Doing a good job getting the probably pressing forward on his controls on his joystick to tip the car nose down and grab that zipper on all laps. He got 127 as he heads into heading into Spaceport Alpha, where we're to see. I believe he does the out of bounds here. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll see if he does or not. My guess is yes, he does, because he has the 28, but he might not. Okay, grabbing the balloon, so it looks like he is going to go for this out of bounds. Or Mono will go for this out of bounds, he shouldn't. But a specific pronoun.
Alright, so he's playing it a little safe.
Yeah, definitely.
And sticking... So you can, once you get out of bounds, you can cut the bottom left corner of the... But as we saw on Peegs' screen, that does not level very fast. And actually, I think the issue might just be that I'm totally familiar with exactly where the checkpoint, the way he went around the first. There are actually only 3 checkpoints that you need to touch. They're in the bottom right, the bottom left, and the top left.
Yeah, so it creates a triangle. So Mono's really taking this safe.
Yeah, he's playing the checkpoints really safe.
Oop, there's a little bit of a backflip. A backflip happens if you maybe go a little bit too far to the little bit too far up with your stick, or you actually, before you do your barrel, you actually neutral stick. But congratulations, that's a 31-41 for Mono. Hopefully both players can come in and do an interview, possibly, if they are up for it. Once they get their dot done and everything, they should receive links to come into the Discord. So overall, Peegs getting a 27-37 on her yeah, on the timer, and Mono with a 31-41. I believe that this is Mono's first race, so it's not a bad D-Rust run. I'm not sure how much practice time he actually had. So here we go. Hey, Peegs. So congratulations, congratulations on the win, and likely moving on in the bracket stage. I know probably not super duper happy with the ending, but you still played amazingly for 19 of the tracks, and Spaceport was a little rough.
Yeah, I'm just so upset, dude. I could have had a 2 to 3 second PB, and then I just screwed it all up.
Yeah, that was harsh, but I mean, you nearly pulled off a PB in a race, which is very impressive.
Hey, how much you want to bet $5 I can do it in the swing race I have tomorrow?
I mean, I'm sure you can. You're doing really good.
Yeah, you'll definitely be pulling down a 26 sometime soon.
I'm gonna wager $10 on me choking another PB on this in the swing race. One thing I have to do is, you had an amazing Everfrost. Like, that was just really, really good. Like, yeah, that was 1 second off my IO. It's the best I've done in a run, but
yeah,
not my IO.
Yeah, congrats on that for sure.
Thank you. I feel like I could have had maybe a 107 or a high 106 if that last lap wasn't incredibly slow.
Well, I don't know how you feel about this, but the chat was talking about renaming the track Everfrost Peegs after how well you ran that. So I know that's your favorite track.
I have a perfect name for it, but this is a family-friendly stream, so...
Yeah, it is.
And I'm pretty sure Patty was the one that came up with Everfast P. So...
Oh, okay.
He came up with that a long time ago.
Well, someone already beat me to the naming. But yeah, so you mentioned having your match with Sweener tomorrow.
Yes. Same time.
Yeah, so looking forward to that. Definitely. I don't know how you might not feel so great, but I definitely think you'll put up a good race tomorrow. I don't know if Mono is around to do an interview or not. I guess he hasn't joined at this point. I'm not sure what all is happening on the rest of the day, so let's go ahead and I'm going to pull up the schedule to see what's going on.
Yeah, I know tomorrow we have a lot of
but it's
DKR matches.
There's at least 3 or 4 DKR matches tomorrow.
There's 5. We have matches at
5.
2, 3, 5, 6, and 8 p.m. Eastern. So it's a full day of Diddy Kong racing tomorrow.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I figured, do you have anything else you want to say, Peaks?
Not really. DKR is amazing, and everyone in the community is amazing. So, shoutouts to all of us, and shoutouts to Obio. Cough cough no bio, but for this instance, he's Obaye.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
Obaye.
Yeah. So, yeah, thanks to SpeedGaming for hosting all of our matches. Again, thanks to Obio and Sweener for putting this tournament together. And looking forward to it.
Congratulations again on the win and on pretty much clinching an advancement to the bracket stage.
Thank you. And I think that wraps it up. I think.
Yeah. So, on behalf of myself and Blue Sox, thank you all for watching. Have a great night.
See ya.
See ya.